Hey y'all, you're watching Portie's Garage. I've been loving the look of these new gold snowflake and big beefy BFGs on the Mustang here. But I got one problem. They're sitting in the car a little bit too much. I don't like that. It's not the stance I'm looking for. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is put in some 1/2-inch spacers. But in order to do that safely, I'm going to need to upgrade the studs here. These are just a little bit too short to be rocking any spacers here. So picked up some new studs right here, and we're going to go ahead and put these on. Now, the way that you are supposed to do this is by taking the whole axle out, hammering the studs out, and then putting the axle back in. I just did my gear oil and I hated it. It smelled horrible. It was not fun. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can do this without taking the axle off. Let's come check it out. First, I'll show you what we're working with. Quick look at all the tools we're going to need here. First off, these studs are a little bit bigger than stock, so we're going to need to drill them out. This is a 39/64 drill bit, and I'm going to throw a link to the Amazon site I got this from, because this has a reduced shank right here, so it can actually fit in the chuck of my drill. Any other ones would be too thick to actually fit in my drill, which is pretty standard. So got that. We got a couple different pliers here and some screwdrivers. That's going to be to help us getting the brake bits off of here. We got 2 old lug nuts, you know, nothing crazy, just something to help us bring them on. A stack of washers, that'll come into play later. Obviously our studs. This is the Moroso brand, part number 46180. I got these from LMR. And then we're gonna need a torque wrench to help put our studs on. A couple of ratchets here, 21 millimeter for our lug nuts. We're gonna need this 7/16 to get the brake cylinder drum off, 7/16 to get the brake line out, and an 8 millimeter to get the bleeder screw off. And lastly, the gentle persuader, because these old studs don't want to come off easy. Let's dive in. First things first, got to start by getting this brake componentry out of the way. That way we can actually get these studs out and flush the new ones through. So I'm going to remove the drum and start taking apart all this. A lot easier with actual drum brake tools, but we don't have that luxury, so I'll be struggling. Now we're going to go ahead and take the drum brake cylinder off. First thing we're going to want to do, which I forgot on the other side, get a drip pan, because we're going to have some brake fluid leaking out here. So let me grab that. Probably the easiest way to do this is to first get your bleeder valve out of the way. That way we can get full rotations on the brake line here. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off. And next, we're going to move on to the brake line. This is a 7/16. And then now lastly, we've got 2 bolts that hold in the brake drum cylinder, which are going to be 7/16. Now we'll be able to slide our cylinder right on out. Now I'm going to go ahead, get some plastic, cover up this brake line here. That way we're not letting any, moist air into the system here. And we'll start with getting these studs out. So the plan is to remove these studs by lining them up with the hole we just revealed by removing the drum brake cylinder here. So you're going to make sure your car's in neutral, and you should be able to spin it and line it right up. Now we're going to take the old gentle persuader here, give her a couple whacks, see if we can knock her out. Voila! Here's just a quick comparison of the new and the old. We're definitely going to be able to get a little more clearance out of these new things. Now to start the installation here, I did put the car in gear. It's in reverse, that way it's not spinning around on us when we start to draw these studs in. So we're going to take our 39/64 drill bit and start drilling this out. We're going to want to be going on as straight as possible. And we don't want to do too much pressure, otherwise it's going to suck the bit in and make everything difficult. I got like 1 out of 4 on the other side perfectly, so hopefully I'm learning my lessons. See, there we go. But we're slowly getting through it. Getting close. There we go. All the way through. Now we can start installing the actual stud here. So the whole reason we had to take all this brake stuff apart is you just cannot get this in and around and through the hole in the right way. But here we've got our clearance. We can just bring her right through the back. Okay. So now we got our hole drilled out. We got our stud in. We need to start setting the strut or the strut into setting the stud, into the axle here. So to do that, we're gonna take good old-fashioned stack of washers. There's probably dedicated tools for this, but you know, local hardware store always has you. I'm gonna put them over the stud and then take one of our old lug nuts here using the flat face right at it. Actually, I don't think I need as many washers here. Thread it on. And we want to make sure we're going in nice and straight. Because if this thing goes at an angle, we're not going to have a good time. Okay. Now, we take our ratchet and we're going to start tightening this nut here. And what it's going to do, it's going to suck the stud in and then get it set in place. So let's go ahead and get started here. Take it nice and slow. The last thing we want to do is strip out our new stud here, mess with the threads on it. So go nice and slow and make sure we're going in straight. It looks pretty straight here. Okay. Now what I've been doing here, I've been taking my torque wrench and I set it for 100 foot-pounds because that is the amount of torque it takes to properly torque down your lug nuts. I guess my reasoning is if you can torque your lug nuts down, it doesn't strip them. So why can't you just apply 100 foot-pounds to this? If I have to go more, then maybe I'm coming in at a little bit of an angle. Maybe I didn't drill it out fully or something. But this will just be kind of a nice way to tell us that, hey, we're doing this right and we're not going to jack up our new studs here. Okay, so I'm starting to hear some clicks here, which is telling me we're hitting 100. It looks like it's going in pretty straight. It would help if I had a light. Oh, yep. We're not going in quite straight. We're a little back here. So, no harm, no foul. We're just going to pop it back off. The very last thing you want to do, strip out your brand new studs. These things are not particularly cheap. So, no big deal. Slide an old nut on here. Not the one that you're using to draw these in. And we'll just pop it out. Run the drill through again just to make sure nothing can snag on it. Drop the stud in the process. And we'll just start right back over. Oh, that looks dead on. And that is the good torque wrench click we want to hear. And if we go ahead, look behind, we are sitting nice and flush right there. No gap, no nothing. That's one down. Now we're just gonna keep doing it, take it out of gear, spin it, knock it out, put it in gear, insert the new thread or stud, and then rinse and repeat until we got all four done. Now, we got all 1, 2, 3, 4 of our studs on. They're nice and snug, not going anywhere. And just to check that they're all lined up and straight, do an old test fit. Same tolerance all the way through. So, we're gonna call this good to go. Now, time for probably the most exciting part of this, putting the brakes back together. Cat's out of the bag, whether or not removing the drum brakes are easier than removing the axles, but just another option. Got the brakes bled, spacers and wheels put on, everything torqued down nice and tight, and whew, we are looking so good. Exactly the stance I was looking for. We got the beefy BFGs poked out a little further, nice wide stance. It's looking really awesome. Hey, if you like what you saw, hit us with a like, a subscribe. Got plenty more content like this coming, and thanks for watching.